Sooner Nation, what is up? Welcome back to the Sooner Surge for another edition of Sooner Surge Game Time as OU gets ready to take on the Kansas Jayhawks tomorrow, 11 a.m. kick on Fox. Lawrence, Kansas, a chilly Lawrence possibly, maybe in the upper 40s. Slight chance of rain during the at kickoff, but as that game progresses, guys, the chances of rain increase. So it will be very interesting. Keep your eye on the weather. Make sure you keep your finger there on the subscribe button and go and subscribe to the Sooner Surge. You have enabled your notifications, like, comment, tell us how we're doing here at the Sooner Surge. And let's get right into it, guys, with some opening thoughts of this matchup of the Sooners versus the Jayhawks.
I'll start out. I mean, this is going to be a game where I think we said it last week, or at least I did. Let's hope the running game gets right against UCF because they're so bad against the run. It really didn't until maybe the fourth quarter. And I think a lot of that had to do with Savion Byrd on the right side. Played really well in the fourth quarter. Sawchuk played really good. So I think important to get the run game going, but also if you watch any of Kansas, their cornerbacks are pretty good, defensive backs, okay? And they like to play they're pretty aggressive. So I think you can maybe get them down the field on some stuff. And so that would be something to keep an eye on. Also, you got to keep an eye out in the stands if you're going to the game, guys. Be watching. Very high probability that Michigan will have a scouter there. They're off this week. Might face them in the playoffs. So
surely they're not dumb enough to do it after getting caught. But I don't know. I would have never thought we would see a cheating scandal like this in college football. So what do I know?
Well, I would say some keys to the game that I have. Jay, I think you said it. Kansas ranks in the 90s nationally in run defense. They're not very good at stopping the run. Oklahoma needs to be able to establish the ground game because we don't know what the weather's going to be like. The rain could pop up. And if Oklahoma cannot run the ball, they will lose this game.
Run Dylan more this week. Run more.
I agree. You need to run Dylan Gabriel more. And defensively, I would not be shocked if Kansas they're going to pull out every single trick in the bag they have. I would not be shocked if they try and use that sprint draw play that UCF ran a lot of times.
Shocked. They better try to do it because OU couldn't stop it.
Oklahoma, they couldn't guard it. So Oklahoma defensively is going to have to play with great eyes, play great disciplined football, and really just play their gaps, play with great gap and integrity, and just do what they need to do to win this game because it's going to be a great environment. The Kansas faithful is going to show out and be loud.
Yeah, personally, I don't think OU is going to get duped twice on the same type of plays. I think they've learned from last week that if Kansas wants to try it, let them try it, and they're going to shut it down. Big thing that I have in this game is I hope it's not a one-possession game late because with the way college football has been, got to love big TV, television networks with all these unnecessary commercial breaks. Looking at the weather forecast in Lawrence as of Thursday night at about 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, which you would expect that game to still be going on, 11 a.m. kick, because of all the additional commercial breaks that have been added in. There's a high chance of rain. So if it's a close game in the fourth quarter, who knows how this weather is going to affect it at the end.
Well, the good news is both teams playing the conditions. So that is good. My opening thought for this, guys, is really, OU has, I'm going to say it, struggled a little bit in Lawrence. The last couple trips down there, not just in Lawrence, guys. OU has struggled with Kansas the last few years, and it's not just been in Lawrence. Last year they had the unbelievable Colston interception, if you remember that play. Was CJ
Colden?
Yeah, I said Colston, yeah. He had the unbelievable play, but that game was high scoring. OU has not been able to put Kansas away like they probably should have in the last few years. So my thought is get on him early. That's what I would say. Get on him early. But Jackson's already given his keys to the game since he already gave us 3 there. But what about your keys to this game, guys?
My keys to the game, obviously, you're coming off last week where you didn't get a turnover. And Bean is a guy that you can get turnovers with. He's not a great, he's okay passer, but he's not a great passer. All right. So you can get some turnovers. OU's been so good at that all year. So one of my keys is win the turnover battle. Easy, obviously, it's a pretty easy key there to say, but it's very important because that's how OU's pretty much dominated some games this year is through the turnover battle. So I would say that. I would say you got to win the run game as far as average per carry. They've been doing that most games, at least with the average. They've been outrunning their opponent. So you got to do that. And then I think a big thing, and didn't really talk about a lot last week, guys, but Andrew Anthony being out, I think they need to establish another receiver. I know Nick Anderson, he scored 2 touchdowns. That's great. But I think even one more. Farouk didn't do a whole lot last week. I'd like to see him get going. Got to have more than one. You had Stoops last week that did pretty good. But I want to see 2 or 3 receivers have really good games. And listen, a name to watch for this week, Pedway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see if Petaway gets – I know he got a lot more snaps than he has got in the past few weeks, but it was only 1 catch last week against UCF. I think it's going to come down to the run game. You look at the Kansas rushing offense. They're 12th in the country in rushing offense. OU's rushing defense is, I think, 33, I believe, somewhere in that range. They took a little bit of a hit after last week going against number 3 rushing offense in the country in UCF. Did really well minus a few plays. It was one really big play and then a few other decent-sized rushes. And then on the flip side of it, OU's rushing game has not been great. They kind of got something going last week, I think, in the fourth quarter against UCF. And then, like Jackson mentioned, Kansas is like 92nd, 93rd, something like that in rushing defense. Not good at all. Got to be able to run the football. And that's something that they're going to give you. Their defense has not been good this year. You got to attack the running game.
Hey, and also, I know they got some good skill players. Running backs are good and everything. But it's Kansas and Oklahoma. If you don't dominate the trenches in this game, you're going to have problems the rest of the year.
Well,
they're not up front. They're not a team that you should be messing around with. You should be able to.
Well, my 3 takeaways, my 3 keys to this game, guys, is you mentioned one of them there, Jay. For whatever reason, OU has not been able to put together a run attack and a pass protect attack kind of in the same game. It's kind of been one or the other. In the fourth quarter last week, they were great on the run, but, it makes me wonder, are they having to do something schematically a little different to be better at that? So I want to see the pass protection a little better this week because you mentioned the DBs. They're aggressive. You got to have time to complete the long ball. So hopefully OU does. Second thing in the passing game, something that would help immensely is having someone down the middle of the field. I don't know, let's say a tight end.
They don't.
That is one area that OU could improve immensely on. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means personnel-wise, but they are missing out in an area where they could have someone there that could do some things. And maybe Stogner has this week, but I want to see the middle of the field used a little bit better besides just Drake Stoops.
Well, they don't have the athletic tight end.
Okay, it doesn't have to be a tight end. I'm just saying middle of the field. Maybe you could put someone else in that position. And the last thing that's got to be mentioned, guys, I don't know if we're just scared to talk about it, special teams. One of the key, Luke Elzinga was exceptional in his starting role. He is no longer a situational, circumstantial kicker punter. He is the starter, and he was great, averaging 51.9 or so last week against UCF. Yeah. He is the guy, and I expect him to have another good outing. But Schmidt's got to show up. If they have to go for a field goal early, he needs to knock it through the center of that upright so he can get back on the confident train, because right now that train is gone and he's trying to get on board and he hasn't gotten there yet. So let's hope he can do that. Special teams could be a major factor in this weather.
Yeah, he's got to figure it out. I know the team's behind him. Luke Elzinga is one of his biggest supporters. Brent Venables said this week he believes in Zach Schmidt. The entire team has reiterated that he's the best kicker on the team. got to figure it out soon. I would like to see them early on, hopefully. I mean, obviously, I would like to score an 80-yard touchdown every time they touch the football, but that's not realistic. So I would like to see an early field goal, get Schmidt confident, because you're playing in cold weather, possibly rain late in the game. I know last year there was a game like that against West Virginia that you had to have a field goal at the end of the game to win it. Again, you can't expect to win it in a field goal in the rain, but if it ever gets to that point, you need Zach Schmidt confident, best version of himself out there.
Yeah, so let's move into Sooner standout, guys. Who is going to be the Sooner that stands out to you most? And viewers, make sure you guys are dropping your comments as you watch this video. Put it in the chat. We'll make sure we give you kudos if you can call out that Sooner standout. But let's get to the Sooner standout. Who do you guys got in offense and defense?
I guess I'll start this time. Offensively, the man who stole the show in the fourth quarter last week, Gavin Sawchuk. He's going to show why he's running back one. He's going to get it going. He's going to go for $150 and 2 touchdowns. Gavin Sawchuk's going to have a monster game. We're going to see the Gavin Sawchuk that we saw against Florida State. Oklahoma's going to find it on the ground game. And defensively, my player of the game is going to be a guy who seems to always play good against Kansas and Iowa State and Key Lawrence. I feel like Key Lawrence is – I think that Key Lawrence is going to have an interception. I just have a feeling that Key Lawrence is going to have a great game.
I'll go next. I'm going to go defensively, Ethan Downs. This is going to be a big game for Ethan Downs. The way they run the ball on that edge, he's going to have a big game. And he's gotten so much – I mean, guys, arguably he on the defensive line, he's playing the best, is he not? I mean,
he is playing the best.
He's playing great right now. So I'm going to go that on defense, and I'm not going to pick an offense because I'm going to pick Gavin Freeman running a punt back this week as my offensive / specials team standout.
Yeah, I'll start with my offensive one, Nick Anderson. I think he gets multiple touchdowns again. Right now, I think it's like 50% of the time he touches the ball, he scores. That number's changed a little bit because he had 5 receptions last week, like 9 targets as he's stepping into that starting role at wide receiver, filling in for Andrew Anthony. Defensively, going to go with the guy who's continued to improve every week, finally getting back to, I think, the healthiest he's been all year, our Mason Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
He has been very impressive this year. Very limited that we've seen him so far, but I think he gets his first sack of the year, and maybe even a couple, rotating in on the defensive line.
Yeah, I'll go. You went Lightning. I'm going to go Thunder here. I'm going to go Tolly Walker coming back from the game that he missed. I think he is going to be, let's just say, very anxious and excited to get out there. And he's not someone I want to get in front if they're mad. And I think he's going to play. He's going to play very mad. And if the weather is maybe a little bit sketch, I guess you could say, he could be a very big difference maker. And like we said earlier, maybe do a little performance like Samaje Perine did against the Jayhawks. On the defensive side, I'm going to Deshaun McCullough, guys. I think there's a reason OU has not allowed the quarterback scramble a lot. And I think it's partly because of Deshaun McCullough. Maybe he doesn't get that noticed. He definitely, one thing he's done every game he's been there, his height and his frame has allowed him to get his hand on balls when he drops back into coverage. Not just that, how many plays in film, if we watched it, would we see the quarterback of the opposing team not or hesitate maybe to throw the ball because you have him standing there in his frame, guys? I mean, you just wonder. I mean, he almost had that one last week where he went up and picked it off. So I just think that him being there, we don't see it in the stat line enough, but I think Deshaun McCullough is the defensive player of the week. Mm-hmm. And let's go to some hot takes, guys. Let's transition to, even though it's going to be chilly outside, let me hear one hot take from each of you.
All right, hot take. This is going to be the first time this year that you see a fake on special teams by OU. Watch for it.
Jay,
Watch
you
for
think it's going to be a fake field goal or a fake punt?
I don't know if it'll be a field goal or punt, but it's going to happen this week.
Hunter, I'll let you go next.
I think Trace Ford forces a turnover. He has been very, very good. Again, keeping it on the defensive line. Those
great game last week
have been impressive. Yes, Trace Ford was great last week. Besides that one offsides penalty, I don't know how it was on the TV broadcast. To me, in the stands, maybe I'm a little biased. It didn't look that bad. Anyhow, he had a tackle for loss and then a beat down. Has not had a sack all year, so I think he gets a strip sack this week against Kansas.
Well, for me, I think that Oklahoma has an 80-plus yard touchdown on offense. I don't know whether it's going to come from a pass or a run, but I think Oklahoma is going to have their most explosive offensive play of the season against Kansas.
And I'm going to steal one from Hunter. Just like the Diamondbacks stole one from the Phillies, but I'm going to go ahead and steal one from you, Hunter, and it's going to be the Peyton Bowen. Guy was in a boot after the game. He's going to put his whole body on the boot of the punter because he's going to block a punt. And
another one. That'd be his third of the year, dude.
Yes, and we're going to get a scoop and score against the Jayhawks.
Man, Jeremy, I'm starting to feel a little bit better today. Thunder win last night was great.
Take the hat off. That would help.
That would help. He's in denial.
Take the hat off, Hunter.
Let's transition to national news. We got national scores to predict, and we'll cap it off with the OU Kansas score. So let's get right to it, Hunter, with some national games.
Yeah, the big one, it's not a ranked matchup, but Georgia, Florida, Georgia line, that game in Jacksonville. Georgia without Brock Bowers. Give me the Gators. Georgia finally going to lose. First time this year without Brock Bowers.
Guys, I think this is all I have to do. The Gator chomp. Florida, they're going to do it. They're going to pull off the upset. It's going to be the signature win for Billy Napier in Florida. And, guys, I think that they might beat Georgia by double digits.
Hey, this is the game that could go either way. It could go Georgia's pumped up and going to blow the doors off of Florida, or Florida's going to win this game. And if you remember, Florida, when they went into Utah earlier this year, they got handed to them. But then since then, they've played pretty well. They had the upset over Tennessee, I think, and they pretty much handled them, right?
They beat Kentucky too.
Yeah. So, did they beat Tennessee? I thought they did. Maybe they haven't played them.
They did.
Okay,
They did.
So I'm going Florida in this game. I am. I think the Brock Bowers thing is a big loss for Georgia. Big loss.
I'm gonna keep it Gators too. And Billy Napier, you mentioned Jackson's signature win. Actually, it'd be a second signature win this year already, with that upset of Tennessee as well. So this would definitely be the bigger one. And look, we'll see how good Beck is for Georgia, because when you take a safety valve away from someone in the guy like Brock Bowers, we'll see what this quarterback's like, because it's easy when you got that dude standing out there. It becomes a lot more difficult with him out.
It's his first Georgia-Florida game. That's like OU Texas first game. It's tough.
He played them last year.
What?
He played them last year.
He didn't play.
It was Stetson Bennett, I thought.
Oh, yeah. My bad.
Yeah,
Stetson Bennett was quarterback. Stetson Bennett's been there for the last 7 years, Hunter.
I'm sorry.
Now he's on the Rams, dude, or whatever. I don't know.
No, he's not on the Rams. But
what's next game?
Next one, Oregon at Utah. Oregon, 2 weeks removed from that heartbreaking loss to Washington. Utah, third-string quarterback off of that upset win at the Mecca of college football, at the Coliseum. Yeah, Mecca of college football. Give me the Ducks.
Yeah, I don't think Oregon will maybe struggle too much in this. Even though Oregon lost to Washington, I still think they're the second best team in the Pac-12 behind Washington. And I don't think that Utah's enough offensively firepower to keep up with an electric offense and Bo Nix. So I think Oregon will win.
Give me the Utes, and I wanted to take Oregon in this, but I watched that USC game. Utah's a physical team, and it's at Utah. Utah is a barn burner to play in. Going there, it's going to be wild.
Hey,
give me the Utes.
I'm
great
with you
coach,
guys.
by the way.
I didn't even want to take Oregon, nor would I even think of taking Oregon, because death, taxes, and Utah upsetting big time opponents. All they do is win big games. Kyle Whittingham, I mean, he's going to be the next guy on Yellowstone. The guy's Kevin Costner-ish like. This guy is just an elite coach. He's unbelievable. I would take him in any big game. He's probably the coach I would take in any big game, maybe outside of Kirby Smart. I mean, I have that much respect, and you mentioned it, Jay. The Utah team always takes on the personality of their coach, and that's a great one to take the personality on. They're tough, dude.
College game day is going to be there, and guys, the defensive coordinator for Utah needs a head coaching job. That guy's great.
Jay, did you hear what Whittingham said after they upset USC? He was talking about Caleb Williams, and he talked about his quarterback, the pig farmer.
Come on. Yeah.
Guys, it's unbelievable.
All right, one more. Not a matchup we would normally do. We try to keep it with top matchups of the week, but feel like everything that's been going on, you have to. USC.
Oh, no.
California. Give me UC Berkeley. Is Lincoln Riley going to be coaching? Seems like he's back with the team, but I remember a time when he missed some practices and his team then lost the game they should have won on the road.
They were coming off of a bye week. They got it handed to them by Baylor too.
Hey, you're wrong in that aspect. If you read anything that Lincoln Riley said today or yesterday, he said he's never missed a practice in the last 20 years. So I don't know.
So he was there? He was there. He was there.
He said he's never missed a practice. This was the first time he's missed a practice in 20 years.
Well, he was gone at least once that week.
I'm just telling you what he said. Hey,
he also said
USC wins this game. USC wins this game. USC wins this game.
Hunter, USC will run away with this.
Okay, I'm going with Hunter. I'm going UC Berkeley as well. I'll tell you why. Lincoln Riley's lost his ever-loving mind. Today he said, the quote was, "We're not far off from running the table or putting some things together." The only thing he's putting together right now is his next contract. I'm taking UC Berkeley.
Didn't he also, it was maybe today or yesterday, but it's like this team was one little spark away from making
That's what it was. Yeah,
that's what it was. That's what he's talking about. And also, all of a sudden, local recruiting again doesn't matter, even though when he was at OU, the California recruits were his primary thing. Now,
and also the culture is so out of hand that the players can't talk to the media after losses.
Hey, the best thing that he said today, though, was, hey, recruiting's only going to get better when we join the Big Ten. And I'm like, you won't be there. You're leaving. So it probably will be better anyway.
Yeah, I guess that's all the national games I have for this week. Let's just move on into it. OU on the road in Lawrence, Kansas, 11 a.m., big noon kickoff. Got kind of played by Fox. No Gus Johnson and no Joel Klatt. So I think the Sooners come out rolling and move to 8-0 this year.
What's your pick?
Yeah, your score.
OU, like score prediction?
Score.
Yeah.
Okay. OU 38, Kansas 21.
For me, Hunter said it. I expect this to be an Oklahoma team that's going to come out firing. An Oklahoma team that's very disappointed about how they played last week, led by Danny Stutzman and that defense. I think they're going to hold Kansas to 13 points, and I think Oklahoma will win 31-13.
I'm going to go a little bit more high scoring here. I think OU scores 48, and they win 48-24. And listen, if it's another barn burner, then I will be a little bit disappointed and a little bit worried about going forward, because last week I understand coming off that Texas win, But now I think they get it together. I don't think you have back-to-back performances like that. I'd be shocked if they don't win this one by 7-14. But I'm going to pick 48-24.
That is very close to what I'm going to do, Jay. You know me because I mean we're twins. We grew up together. You know, sometimes you need a wake-up call, and we used to have our mom give us a wake-up call because we weren't sure we were going to be able to get up on our own. Well, what OU had last week was a wake-up call, and I would be utterly shocked and disappointed if there's another wake-up call needed. I promise you it got the attention of the players, and if it didn't, Brent Venables got the attention of the players this week at practice. Probably had Schmitty there with him doing some extra stuff. I look for OU to come out early, score early and often, and win this game going away 42-17 in Lawrence. We want to hear your guys'. We want to see your guys' score predictions. Drop them in the chat. That's another edition of Sooner Surge Game Time. OU Kansas 11 a.m. kick. Fox. Can't wait to see you guys or hear from you guys afterwards on the Sooner Surge YouTube Live. Be a part of it. Make sure you've turned on your notifications. You've subscribed to the channel. Till next time, Boomer.